I never thought I'd be the guy writing something like this, but here I am. My name's Mike, and I've been with my wife, Lisa, for about 6 years now. Things started off pretty normal, good job, decent friends, a pretty normal life. We were planning our wedding, buying a house, trying to settle into this forever kind of thing. I trusted her completely. Honestly, I thought she was the one. But in the past few months, I started noticing little things that didn't sit right. Nothing huge at first, just small weird moments, missing texts, her acting distant sometimes, and her being oddly defensive when I asked where she was or who she was with. Still, I didn't want to jump to conclusions. Maybe she was stressed, or maybe I was just overthinking it. The week before our wedding, I felt like things were finally settling down. I was pumped, ready to start our new life together. But I had this nagging feeling like I was missing something. It was stupid, I guess, but I kept checking her phone, just a quick glance here and there. I know that's not exactly the best move, but I was desperate to know what was really going on. One night I caught a message, just a snippet. It was from some guy called Jake saying he couldn't wait to see her during her lunch break the next day. Nothing explicit, but enough to make my stomach drop. I felt a weird, cold shock. This wasn't some innocent coworker conversation. It was more than that. I started digging. I looked through her social media, her texts, her emails. She had deleted some stuff, but I found enough to see that she had been spending a lot of time with Jake, way more than she let on. She'd say she was working late or out with friends, but the messages told a different story. They were flirty, suggestive. She was acting like she was into him, like she was hiding something. I couldn't believe it. My wife, the woman I loved, was lying right to my face, cheating behind my back. And not just once. I found out she had been doing this for months, even during the weeks when I was planning our wedding, trying to make everything perfect. It felt like my entire world shattered in that moment. I remember sitting there, staring at her phone, feeling like I'd been punched in the gut. How could she do this? How could she lie to me for so long, pretend everything was fine, and then go and betray me like this? All those plans, all that trust just evaporated in an instant. I thought about confronting her right then and there, but I was too pissed, too hurt. I needed a plan. I needed to figure out what to do before I lost my mind. I didn't want to be one of those guys who lashed out, but I also didn't want to just stand there and take it. I was furious, betrayed, and honestly feeling pretty lost. The next morning, I woke up feeling like I'd been run over by a truck. My mind was racing, replaying everything I'd uncovered the night before. I kept thinking about Lisa, how she looked so perfect on the surface, smiling, acting like everything was fine, while behind the scenes she was screwing around with Jake. It was like waking up from a bad dream that you can't escape. I couldn't believe I was about to confront her, but I knew I had to. I couldn't keep pretending everything was okay. I made a plan. I needed to see her reaction face to face, but I also wanted to be prepared for anything. I decided to wait until she got home from work, just to catch her off guard. I didn't want her to have time to spin some stupid lie or cover story. I just wanted to look her in the eyes and see what was really there. After I cleaned myself up and took a deep breath, I sat on the couch, trying to calm my nerves. I kept thinking about the times I trusted her, how I defended her against my friends when they joked about her being a bit bitchy or hard to deal with. Now I saw her for what she really was, a liar, a cheat. When she finally pulled into the driveway, I felt my heart pounding in my chest. She looked like she hadn't slept, bags under her eyes, some nervous energy about her. She tried to act normal, but I wasn't buying it. I called her inside and just shot straight. "Lisa, we need to talk," I said, voice a little shaky. She looked surprised, then defensive. "What's wrong, Mike? I'm tired, I've been working late. What's this about?" I cut her off. "Don't lie to me. I know about Jake. I saw the messages. You've been lying for months, haven't you?" She froze for a second, then rolled her eyes and scoffed. "Oh, that? Yes, so what? It was just sex, Mike. It doesn't mean anything. I was bored and it was just some stupid thing. It's not like I love him or anything." Her words hit me like a punch in the stomach. I felt the anger boiling up. How could she lie so easily? How could she act like it was just some meaningless fling? I was furious, sick of her dismissiveness. I told her she was full of shit and I wanted the truth. I demanded to know how long this had been going on, how many lies she'd told me before our wedding, and what she thought she was doing. Her reaction was classic Lisa, bitchy, dismissive, full of excuses. "You're overreacting, Mike. This doesn't change anything. It was just sex and it meant nothing. You're being paranoid." Maybe I should be the one asking questions. Like, where were you all those nights I caught you sneaking around? Or were you cheating too? That was her way of turning it around, making me doubt myself. But I wasn't going to fall for that. I was livid, but I kept my cool. I told her I didn't want her to come home that night, that I needed time to think. I told her I was done pretending everything was okay. As she stormed out of the house, calling me an overreacting, jealous idiot, I realized I was in uncharted territory. My mind kept spinning with all the lies she told, all the moments I missed. I felt betrayed, embarrassed, heartbroken, and angry all at once. The woman I thought I knew, the woman I planned my future with, had been lying to my face. I wondered if I could even trust her again, or if I'd been living with some version of a woman I didn't really know. The rest of the day was a blur, trying to keep it together, trying not to fall apart. I knew my next move had to be careful, but honestly I didn't know if I could even do that anymore. That night I stayed up staring at the ceiling, trying to process everything. Part of me wanted to just pack up and leave, disappear without a trace. I was so hurt, so betrayed, I honestly didn't see any way back from this. But another part of me, the stubborn, stupid part that still wanted to believe in some shred of honesty, kept telling me to confront her again, ask for the full truth, and then decide what to do. The thing is, Lisa is one of those women who can lie with a straight face. She's bitchy, manipulative, and she knows exactly what to say to turn the tables. So I knew I had to be smart this time. I had to catch her in a lie if I was going to get any real answers. The next morning, I decided I'd wait until she went to work, then go through her things again. I was determined to find out everything, how long this had been going on, whether she'd told Jake about me, or if she'd even pretended to be pregnant to throw me off. I already knew she'd lied about that too. She told everyone she was pregnant with our kid for months. She even went as far as buying maternity clothes, acting. All hormonal and emotional. I couldn't believe she would go that far just to cover her tracks, but she did. She's good at lying, and I knew she could turn anything around if I wasn't careful. When she left that morning, I followed her on a hunch. I spent the day sneaking around her phone, her social media, her emails. I found a few more messages between her and Jake, more suggestive stuff, plans to meet, flirtatious talk. She'd even called him babe once, which made my stomach turn. I felt that same familiar anger bubble up. How could she have been so reckless? How could she lie about everything, even the pregnancy, knowing how much I wanted a family? I felt like I was losing my mind, wondering if I'd ever really known her at all. Around 3 p.m., I saw her get into her car and follow her from a distance. She went to a little cafe downtown, then met up with Jake. I watched from across the street, feeling like I was watching some twisted soap opera. I saw them laugh, hold hands, things I never thought I'd see her do with someone else. The way she kissed him goodbye, it was like she was in her own little world, completely oblivious to how much her lies had hurt me. Seeing that made everything hit even harder. The betrayal, the sense of being played, the feeling that I'd been living with a stranger all along, it was overwhelming. I didn't want to just storm in there and yell. I wanted to do this right, even if it hurt like hell. When she finally came back home that evening, I was waiting. I didn't say a word at first. I just looked at her, trying to read her face. She came in, saw me sitting there, and tried to act normal, but she couldn't. Her eyes darted around, and I saw that guilty look, the one she always uses when she's hiding something. I asked her straight out, "Who is Jake to you? Tell me the truth." Her face twisted into this bitchy sneer, and she threw her hands up, saying, "Seriously, you're crazy. It's just sex, Mike. It doesn't mean anything. I don't know what you're even jealous about." That was her typical response: denial, deflection, insults. But I wasn't buying it anymore. I told her I didn't want to hear her lies. I wanted honesty, or I was done. That's when she really blew up. She started screaming, calling me insecure, accusing me of spying on her, saying I was just jealous of Jake because I wasn't man enough. That's when I realized she was really good at turning things around. She's a manipulator, a bitch, and she knows how to make me feel like I'm the one who's crazy. but deep down, I knew the truth. I knew she'd been cheating on me during the week of our wedding when I was supposed to be planning our future. That night after she stormed out again, I sat alone and thought about everything. I felt betrayed, humiliated, and angry. I'd given her my trust, my love, and she threw it all away for some stupid sex with Jake. The woman I thought I knew was just a master liar. I kept asking myself, should I forgive her? Should I confront her again? Or should I just disappear and forget I ever knew her? Honestly, I didn't know what to do. I just knew I couldn't keep living like this, not after discovering her lies. That's when I started seriously considering my options, whether to fight, walk away, or just pretend I never found out. The next few days were a whirlwind of chaos inside my head. I kept replaying everything. Her lies, her sneers, that smug look she gave me when she thought she was in control. I was furious but also numb, unsure whether I wanted to scream or just crawl into a hole and hide from everything. Part of me wanted to confront her again, demand answers, and then tear everything apart. But another part, the darker, more exhausted side of me, just wanted to disappear, to leave this whole mess behind and start over somewhere else. I was torn between fighting for what was left of my dignity and just running away from the pain. By the third day after the big showdown, I knew I had to do something. I couldn't keep pretending I was okay, not when I felt this betrayed. I decided that I had to get to the bottom of everything, no matter how much it hurt. I started digging into her phone again, looking for anything I might have missed. I found more messages from Jake, more flirtation, more plans to meet. But then, I stumbled across a string of texts where Lisa was telling him she was pregnant. My stomach dropped. I read it over and over, trying to believe what I saw. She told him she was several weeks along, acting all hormonal, saying she couldn't wait to tell him in person. That was the moment I knew I'd never get the truth from her easily. She lied to me about the pregnancy too. She faked it somehow to keep Jake hooked, or maybe to make me believe she was innocent. Whatever her game was, she was good at it. I felt the walls closing in, the mixture of heartbreak and rage bleeding out of me. I didn't sleep that night. I just sat there, staring at her messages, feeling like I'd been hit with a sledgehammer. The following morning, I decided I needed to confront her again, but this time with a plan. I wanted her to see that I knew everything about Jake, the pregnancy, the lies, and that I wasn't going to be played anymore. I called her, told her to meet me at a cafe downtown. She was hesitant, obviously caught off guard, but I forced her to agree. When she arrived, I laid it all out. Every message, every lie, every fake pregnancy test she'd probably faked, all of it. Her face twisted with anger, denial, and some weird amusement. She started playing her games. "You're crazy, Mike. You're just jealous, insecure. You're making this up like always." But I didn't let her wiggle out of it. I pulled out my phone, showed her the screenshots, told her I knew she'd been cheating on me with Jake for months, even during the supposed pregnancy. Her reaction. She scoffed, smirked, and then threw her hands up like I was the one overreacting. "You really think I'd do all that? You're imagining things. Maybe you're the one cheating, huh?" That was classic Lisa, turn everything around, gaslight me, make me doubt myself. I felt like I was losing my mind. I wanted to scream, to shake her, tell her how much she had hurt me. But I just sat there, calm on the outside, boiling inside. I told her I'd had enough, that I was done with her lies, that I'd be filing for divorce soon. I saw her eyes flicker, maybe a hint of fear, maybe anger. Hard to tell. With her, she told me I was overreacting, that I was crazy for believing any of this. But I knew better. I knew she'd been lying for months, maybe longer, and I had proof now. That's when I realized I had to make a decision. Do I keep fighting for a marriage built on lies? Or do I cut it loose and get the hell out of there? That night, I went home, packed a bag, and left her standing there with that bitchy smirk still on her face. I didn't want to be around her anymore, not after what I found out. I felt like I'd been broken into pieces, but also somehow freed. I knew I'd be better off without her, even if it hurt like hell in the moment. I'd been a fool for trusting her so completely, but now I saw her for who she was, someone who lied, cheated, and played me for a fool. I realized I deserved better, and I wasn't going to let her keep hurting me. I just hope I can move on from this. But honestly, part of me knows I'll carry this betrayal with me for a long, long time. In the days that followed, everything felt surreal. I moved out of the house, leaving behind the life I thought I knew. I stayed with a friend for a while, trying to get some space to breathe and process what had happened. The pain was sharp, like a hole in my chest that wouldn't heal, but at the same time I felt this strange sense of relief. I'd uncovered the truth, finally, and now I didn't have to pretend anymore. The woman I loved, the woman I'd planned a future with, she was nothing like I thought. She was a liar, a cheat, and ultimately someone I couldn't trust anymore. People kept telling me I should be angry, and I was. Every time I remembered her sneering at me, her dismissive attitude, or that fake pregnancy lie, I felt my blood boil. But beneath all that anger was this deep sadness, too. I kept thinking about all the moments I missed, her laughs, her kindness, the way she used to look at me. And I wondered how I could have been so blind. How could I not see the signs? How did I miss all the little things that pointed to her? Being someone else entirely. That's what hurt the most. Feeling like I'd lost the woman I thought I knew, the woman I'd trusted with everything. I spent some time going over everything in my head, trying to figure out what I'd do next. Honestly, I was considering just walking away completely. No contact, no explanations, just erase her from my life. But part of me also wanted to confront her one last time, to make her see that I knew everything and that I was done pretending she was innocent. I had to give her a chance to tell the truth, if she even could anymore. I knew she'd lie again, try to manipulate her way out of it, but I had the proof. The screenshots, the messages, the fake pregnancy tests. I had everything. I wasn't going to let her gaslight me anymore. So I reached out and scheduled a final meeting. I wanted her to see me strong, not broken. When she showed up, she had that same bitchy smirk, like she thought she was so clever. I didn't waste time on small talk. I told her I knew about the affair, about the pregnancy lie, about everything she tried to hide. I threw all the evidence in her face. Her reaction was classic Lisa: denial, outrage, that dismissive attitude. She yelled, called me paranoid, insecure, jealous, anything to turn the tables. But at that point, I was past caring about her bullshit. I told her I was done, that I'd file for divorce and move on with my life. I said I'd never trust her again, and I meant it. Part of me felt victorious, like I'd finally taken control of the situation. But another part was just exhausted, hollow inside. I'd lost a woman I thought I knew, and I wasn't sure if I'd ever really recover from that. Still, I knew I couldn't stay with someone who'd betrayed me so deeply. My trust was shattered, and I didn't see a way back. It was the end of that chapter, and honestly, I felt a strange mix of relief and grief. I knew I'd have to pick up the pieces, learn how to trust again, or maybe just accept that I'd been broken. Now I'm in the process of healing, trying to figure out what's next. I don't regret confronting her. I think I had to know the truth, even if it hurt. I just hope that someday I can look back and see this as a horrible chapter that I survived. One thing's for sure. I've learned the hard way that trust is fragile, and some people are better left alone when they show their true colors. I just wish I'd seen it sooner. Now I'm just trying to put the pieces back together, piece by piece. It's not easy, and honestly, I don't think I'll ever fully forget what happened. The betrayal runs deep, and the scars are real. But I've come to realize something important. Trust, once broken, isn't easily mended. You can forgive, you can move on, but the wounds stay with you. I've learned that people reveal their true colors eventually, and sometimes you're better off walking away before they drag you down with them. I've been going to therapy, trying to understand how I missed all the signs, how I trusted so blindly. It's a slow process, and some days are worse than others. But I keep reminding myself that I deserve someone honest, someone who respects me and values the relationship enough to be faithful. The more I think about Lisa, the more I realize that her bitchy attitude, her lies, her manipulations, they all stem from her own insecurities and flaws. That doesn't justify what she did, but it helps me see her for what she really was. Someone who couldn't be faithful, someone who lied so easily she lost herself in her own deception. Through all this, I've gained clarity. I don't regret discovering the truth. Yeah, it hurt like hell, but I'd rather face the brutal reality than live in a fantasy, pretending everything was okay. I now know that I don't want to be with someone who cheats and manipulates, no matter how much I loved her. I've learned that walking away sometimes takes more strength than fighting to hold on to something broken. She was a bitch, yes, but I refuse to let her define my future. Looking ahead, I'm focusing on myself. I'm reconnecting with friends, working on my career, and trying to rebuild my sense of self. It's a long road, and I know there will be setbacks, but I also know I'm better off without the lies and the betrayal. The pain is still fresh, but each day gets a little easier, a little less heavy. I realize that trust is something you earn, and once it's lost, it's damn hard to get back. So now I'm making sure I never let anyone take me for granted again. If there's one thing I want anyone reading this to take away, it's this. Never ignore the red flags. Trust your instincts. And if you find someone who lies, cheats, and manipulates, don't waste your time trying to fix what's broken. Cut your losses, walk away, and focus on healing. Because at the end of the day, you deserve someone who's honest, loyal, and worthy of your love. And no matter how much it hurts now, you'll come out stronger. Because surviving betrayal is one of the hardest, most humbling lessons there is.